Hey everybody, it's me Tracy, and I wanted to come on really quick and talk about everything that is going on in the natural hair community in regards to people's hair being compromised because they were following the Cut It Kinky I Am Black Girl Curls method. Y'all, I think it's just diabolical. Hello? Um, the reason why I think that is because I feel like everybody is blame shifting Aisha and Elise for the condition of their hair. Now, do I think that they have a role in the condition of people's hair? Yep. Because anytime when you come out with a system, you can't just roll it out, right? After just maybe testing it out for a couple of months and then saying, okay, we're going to roll it out to the masses. We're going to write a book. We're going to do this. So, especially when it's not a strict controlled environment. You can't have a strict controlled environment on a subscription based type of system how they had, where they're not actually technically, from my understanding, really seeing the condition of people's hair face to face, where they can feel it, touch it, all of that. So when you come out with a new product, most companies, when they come out with a new product or a new system, they test it out for a while on a panel of people. They have a group of people who are following this particular method or regimen for a certain amount of years, depending on what they're coming out with, and then another panel who's not using the product at all, and then maybe a third panel that's using something similar but different. And then they take all of the research and they compare those three different groups, right? Then, as they assess the three different groups, the conditioning of their hair or condition of whatever, it could be their body or whatever, right? Maybe it's a body product, or maybe it's a new nutritional supplement. They take all of these tests and then they look at them. And once they figure out, oh yeah, we can roll this out to the public because now we know it's foolproof and we've tested this long enough with this controlled group, now we know it's good. So it doesn't appear that Elise and Aisha did that with their system. They just kind of rolled out with it, right? They probably got excited and saw that, hey, we can make some money, right? We can write a book. We can make some money from that. Then from there, we could make some more money because we could have people subscribing. So imagine that. They subscribing to us. We charging this fee every single month. Plus we doing hair. We can have some ducats. How do I know that? Because I had went to a couple of events and I listened to Elise talk about making money. And when I saw that, it appeared that she was more concerned about her pocketbook than she was concerned about the client. That's what it appeared when I met her in San Francisco and listened to her talk. I kind of was like, she put a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. Not to mention she wasn't that friendly. But let's roll back to all this that's happening. The reason why I think it's not all of their fault is because when you buy something, a book or whatever, to get information, and then if you're on these groups, and you're not partnered with a professional, and you're kind of just doing things on your own, then, and getting information, people misinterpret information when they're reading. And so they might put out, oh yeah, we have a list of shampoos, or we have a list of treatment products, or a list of conditioners. It doesn't mean that you go out and buy 3 different conditioners, 3 different shampoos, 4 different treatment products and use them all, right? You have to assess your hair. Does your hair actually need it? Do you really need to be doing a 30-day detox? Maybe prior to you coming to I Am Black Girl Curls, you were already using water-soluble products and you didn't really have a whole bunch of buildup where you needed to be doing clarifying treatments every single month. Maybe that was your case. So you have to take into consideration what's going on. And this is why I say that the consumer is held accountable just as much as I am Black Girl Curls, Elise and Aisha. They're held accountable too. Because guess what? You're seeing and washing your hair on a weekly basis. In between you, whenever you decide to go get your hair cut or trimmed. And so you're going to be the one that's going to know your hair better than that professional. And then if you're only going and getting your hair trimmed once a year, or you're trying to trim it yourself in between going and getting maintenance done because you don't want to spend the money, because let's be real, curly cuts can be anywhere from $150 to $350 depending on who you're going to. So they're expensive, right? So people like to save money. So sometimes they try to take matters into their own hand by cutting their own hair, or sometimes they just put off and say, oh, I'm gonna wear a protective style, so I'm gonna put off going and getting my hair trimmed. Well, when you put off getting those regular trims, and this goes for curly hair, it goes for straight hair, when you put off going and getting your trims, those maintenance cuts, then when you do go and you've got like 6, 7 months, 8 months worth of hair growth, now it's no longer a trim, it's a haircut, right? Then because our hair is curly, we experience a lot of spring back or shrinkage. And so with that being said, people tend to go to the hair salon and say, well, I don't really want to cut off all my hair, or that seemed like a lot. You got to take off 2 inches. Yeah, because you took a year to come to me. And so now it's not a trim, it is a haircut. So there's that piece. So this is where I'm trying to show you guys the accountability that people need to take accountability. Let's go back to the products again. With the products, people need to take accountability too, because like I just said, if you're deep conditioning, a deep conditioner is a treatment. When a doctor or somebody prescribes a treatment for you, it is because you have a certain diagnosis that states that you need to have this type of treatment for this amount of time in order to cure whatever, right? It doesn't mean that you need to have that treatment all the time. So you may not need to do deep condition treatments every single week. Maybe once a month, or maybe every 6 months is enough for you. It just depends. And everybody is going to be different because every head is different, right? They're going to experience different needs. And that's also going to play a part in, are you on medications? It's going to play a part on, what is your lifestyle, etc., etc. What type of products are you using, right? All of these things take into account. And this is why I say the little subscriber group wasn't really a good controlled group or managed well, because it's too many people to manage how they're doing something when you're not seeing them. So there's that piece. So that's why I say the consumer is just as much as at fault as Elise and Aisha. So yeah, they just as much as at fault, in my opinion. And I feel like nobody wants to hold themselves accountable, so it's easy to blame somebody else for the condition of your hair, or the fact that you got to get now 3 or 4 inches cut off, because you was following this method religiously. But were you really taking into consideration the condition of your hair, and did you need to follow religiously or do all of the things, right? Yeah, maybe cutting out the butters and the heavier products and stuff was a good thing, but too much of anything could not be good. There's that piece. So yeah, I also am looking sideways at these professionals that are now coming out saying, oh yeah, I was using this method or following this method, and now my hair is compromised, and even some of my clients. What? I'm looking at them sideways because it makes the industry kind of look sad, because you guys go to school, you study hair, you learn hair, and some of y'all is going and getting continued education. Maybe And I would think, I would hope that some of that continued education is on hair care, not just cutting. So with that being said, you mean to tell me it took y'all 5 years to be able to tell that something wasn't working before you noticed that something was up with your hair? What's going on here? So that to me is also off the chain crazy. I'm just baffled and I don't understand it. I've been getting my hair cut in its curly state for over 10 years. You know, I started in 2010 and I have not pressed out my hair to get a trim or none of that. It has been cut in its curly state this entire time. I still get my split ends and all of that addressed. And when something ain't looking right for Tracy, Tracy does her own assessment and be like, oh, I need to tweak this. Whether that means I need to use a heavier leave-in, whether that means I need to deep condition, whether that means I need to do something to help my hair in between the time when I go and see my professional. Then when I go back and see my professional, I have them assess the condition of my hair and scalp. Hello? So that's being proactive. You know, I feel like some people weren't. You know, did anybody take into consideration, because I'm sure some of y'all was going to multiple different hairstylists for cuts, maybe not going to the same person every single time you went and got, you know, your haircut. And with that new person is brand new to looking at your head, and so they don't know how your hair looked 6 months ago or a year or whatever, because they don't see you that often. So you're a brand new client. So there's that. There's so many different factors, you guys, and I just wanted to come on just to say that in any type of conflict, it's never always one-sided. Every single person plays a part in the conflict. Everybody has a role. My question to y'all that are affected is, what was your role? What was your role? It's so easy to blame shift somebody else for something that we're going through. But is all the blame really on them? Or do we need to hold ourselves accountable for what has transpired? It's sad that, you know, this has happened to I Am Blackgirl Curls, Cut It Kinky, Elise, and Aisha. But yeah, that it really is sad. But remember Diva Curl? You know, those were hot, all the rave, you know, cutting techniques for Diva Curl. Diva Curl. Diva Curl had its own cutting techniques, their own products, the whole 9 yards. And everybody loved Diva Curl. And then boom, Diva Curl wasn't good when people started experiencing scalp irritation, hair loss, etc., etc. But some of that was user error. How do I know that? Because I myself was a lover of Diva Curl. I got Diva cuts. I used Diva products. You couldn't tell me that Diva Curl was not the bomb dilly. Hello? But look at some of my earlier videos. But what I will tell you is that I was proactive in my own hair care. When I noticed that something was off, I made a change or I made an adjustment. So some of that is holding our own self accountable and not waiting until shit hit the fan before you say, oh, my hair is really dry, or oh, my hair, it seemed like it's getting wispy. There's all kinds of signs that happen before it gets to that extreme. So we got to pay attention. The question is, were you? Anyway, that's my 2-piece. Post below what your comments are. And yeah, because you might have a difference of opinion. And if that's the case, that's okay. But post below because I'd like to know. All right. Peace. Bye.